Look, I'm just going to give you the mic because you've been ripping on the Steelers all year, and so I know you want to gloat. I know you do.
I do, because, Chris, we do have a microwave take. Can we go back about 5 or 6 weeks? And, Chris, let's do it.
Time to reheat an old hot take that's gone cold.
Hot on the outside, icicle in the middle.
It's Microwave Take with the Odd Couple.
The worst 11-0 team in NFL history. And if they think they're going to challenge the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC or win a Super Bowl with this team, you can forget about it. This is going to be a regular season Charlie. That's what this will be. And they will go, just like they have in years gone by, under the great Mike Tomlin, and go play a real AFC team and get their clocks clean. There it is. And you know what, Chris Broussard? They got their clocks clean by a team that won 11 games this year. And we could say whatever we want about the Browns. The reason I didn't think they had a chance to win, Chris, was because their coach was missing and their left tackle, and they had 5 or 6 other guys with COVID. That's why I didn't think the Browns had a shot.
Rob.
Okay, right.
To me, that was the biggest thing. They couldn't practice. They practiced once in 2 weeks.
Exactly. So that's why I didn't think the Browns could win. Right. But let's be honest, Chris. I never bought into the Steelers. You remember as they won those 11 games, I kept going, look at who they played. They beat the Ravens, but the Ravens had 4 turnovers. Do you remember when they beat the Cowboys? And, Chris, you remember what that microwave take was from? That was when they beat RG3. You remember how terrible they looked in that game? And that was a game that the Ravens were missing 19 players. And RG3, who hadn't played in 9 years or whatever it is, went out there, played awful,
he looked bad.
And they barely beat them. Do you remember? That's why I went crazy. The Pittsburgh Steelers, hello, is this mic on? Are frauds, were frauds all freaking year. They were terrible. They were never competing, Chris, even when they were 11-0. Be honest. Did you ever think they had a chance at going to the Super Bowl from the AFC? No. None, right? Never. No. What team is 11-0 to start the year and they're not even included in making a real run? It's because people looked at that team. And I told you, Big Ben, I'd rather have Uncle Ben. Enough with the Big Ben. I mean, can we move on from that now? Yes, I know he won you 2 Super Bowls. And I'll tell you this. He didn't get into the end zone in Detroit against Seattle when they won that Super Bowl. And his numbers aren't that impressive when you talk about postseason. Big Ben, enough already. The Steelers need to, Chris, move on. This was if you're ownership, you can't feel good at what went on. I mean, at home, they had lost, the Browns had lost 17 straight in Pittsburgh. Hello? Is that extra ketchup on that hot dog? 17 straight.
You pulling out all your little cliches that we've heard 134 times before.
But it works today. It just fits.
Look,
I'm not shocked.
And you're right. Before you break your arm, patting yourself on the back.
Thank you.
Thank you
very
down.
much.
All right. I mean, first of all, saying they were the worst 11-0 team ever was not some huge revelation. You weren't stepping out on a huge limb. 9 of the 12 teams that have gone 11-0 in the NFL went to the Super Bowl. And as you said, none of us thought the Steelers were going to the Super Bowl. Rob Parker, I actually believe I had the better take. My take was this. They're not that good of a team, and they overachieved madly to get to 11-0. And I know the way it ended, it's ugly. You're right. I mean, ended the regular season
we cannot
1-4. Yeah,
what happened.
In the regular season 1-4, and then to lose to a team that in your division, a rival that didn't have its head coach, didn't have some of its best players, wasn't able to practice. I mean, you're right. Ugly as all get out. And you know what? They won't. This will never go away. I mean, now the Steelers are a great organization.
This leaves a
mark. You would guess they'll win a Super Bowl again or more in the future. But this will never, they'll never feel good about this year. It'll never wear off. And here's the thing. This is what I was saying, Rob. And I was one of those that picked the Steelers to make the playoffs. I'm not saying I was the only one. A lot of people probably did. But if you could look, if at this point, let's say after the season, if mid-February, someone had said to you, the Steelers went 12-4, won their division, and lost in the first round of the playoffs, you would have said, you know what? That's pretty good for them, because I didn't even think they were that good. And I get it. Like I said, the way it ended, it'll never be that simple. I'm just saying this team overachieved to a great extent to even get to 11-0. And you're right. No, none of us really believed they were that good. And it ended up bearing out at the end.
And the finish, you always remember how you finished something and what it looked like.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's never going to go away.
And that's it. Nobody this season, Chris, with the 12 wins and, 11-0 start or whatever, and the comeback against the Colts. Remember? They were down big.
Yep.
Everybody thought that they got it fixed. They didn't get it fixed. It was a bad ending to a bad team.
You'd rather be like 4-2, 7-4, or let's say 7-3, 10-4, and then you finish 12-4. You know what I mean? Then go 11-0 and then finish 1-4, and it ends like this. And here's the thing about Big Ben. Look, he does not want to finish his career on this note. I mean, this was about the worst possible way you could finish a career, right? I mean, other than like a serious injury or something like that. But as far as a game, like I said, division rival, you're heavily favored. They don't have their coach. They don't have some of their best players. They couldn't practice. And you go out and lay an egg. Rob, it reminded me, they came back and, maybe had Nick Chubb not gotten that screen pass touchdown, maybe had a shot to make it interesting in the second half. But it reminded me, remember the Super Bowl, Peyton Manning's first with Denver?
Yeah.
When it was just against Seattle, it was over from jump.
They were annihilated, right?
Yeah, that's what it reminded
after
me of.
Pouncey threw that ball over his head, and then
that
Chris,
was it.
The way that they went after the ball, what was that?
Yeah,
did you see both of them? Like the way they went after the ball, it was right there. There were two Steelers.
Yep.
There to grab the ball. All right, it would have been second down, and at the 1 yard line, you would have been in bad field position. But they didn't go after the ball.
Get on the ball. Exactly. Get on the ball.
I didn't get that.
So I'm with you on Big Ben. I think you got to move on. They can save like $19 million off their cap hit. And, look, he's, as you said, 2 Super Bowls. He's a Hall of Famer. You agree with that, right?
No, I get all that.
So I'm just saying you got to move on. He's old, too. It's not like he's 34. Not like it's insulting to move off of the dude at 38, 39, whatever he is. It's time to go.
It is time to go. And, Chris, we talked about him this year, and he just doesn't look like that guy. And 4 interceptions. He was I don't care. The score looks better, but that game was never that close. And Mike Tomlin punting the ball 4th and 1 when they got a little momentum going, Chris. When you're down big you got to take advantage of it. You got to go for it. That would be like kicking a field goal down by 3 touchdowns. Right. What are you doing?
Right.
The momentum was going the Steelers' way, wasn't it?
Right. Absolutely. I do agree. Let me say this, and I saw several people go hard. I mean, Rob, go hard's an understatement. Blame several people, and I don't know how much TV you were watching today, all the sports shows. Several people blame, and I do mean blame, Juju Smith-Schuster for the loss.
No.
Because of what he said. Now, look, you and I both went at him on Friday. It was stupid. Stop it, Juju. You don't need to be dancing on logos. You don't need to be talking big when you've been mediocre for the last few years. However, to say that they lost because he set a horrible tone with that comment. I can't buy that, man.
I can't buy it either, Chris. You know what? They weren't prepared. I don't know what they were thinking. They didn't take the team seriously because they hadn't been in the playoffs, Chris, since 2002. They had beaten them 17 straight times in Pittsburgh. So maybe they thought it was automatic. Maybe they thought they could just roll the ball out on the field and it was going to be a done deal. And even after the first mistake, all right, and the Browns took advantage of it, the game wasn't over, Chris.
No,
and the
not
Browns
at all.
bashed him over the head after that, and it was ugly. It was as bad as an ending as can happen. And I'll tell you, if Mike Tomlin didn't have his credentials, and I mean never having a losing record, won a Super Bowl, Chris, making the playoffs most of the time right during his run, a lot of guys would have got fired off of that you couldn't beat a team without their coach, a team that wasn't able to practice that much, a team that had numerous players down with COVID, and you got your butts kicked in a playoff game at home. That's a fireable offense for most coaches, Chris.
I agree, but I don't think he should be fired. And I don't think you're saying that either. I mean, like you said, he's proven himself. And again, Rob, I give him a lot of credit for the 11-0 start. Because that team, let's just be honest, they're not that good. And last year with Mason Rudolph at quarterback, and I mean, to get them to 8-8. And so I agree with you. And obviously, that's not a good look for him. But I think his history, what he did last year, what he did earlier this year, and even, let's face it, Rob, even the fact that, and I know Antonio Brown went, he had his moments in Pittsburgh and it ended ugly. But I think Tomlin got points for that too. Right? The way Antonio went to two other teams and just, was hazardous.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? People looked at it like, wow, he was able to get that out of AB.
I know, but at this point, like I'm looking at it.
No, I'm just saying, like those are feathers in his cap, so to speak.
This one was a stinker.
Yeah, it was bad. There's no defending him, and I think he would admit it was bad as well. All right. You want to comment on the Steelers in general, but specifically we're asking you about Big Ben. Is it time for the Steelers to move on?
All right, let's get there. Let's go with Jawan in Colorado. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Jawan?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Great, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. I just wanted to say, Chris, last week I heard you talking, saying you were from Cleveland. I'm from Youngstown. So.
Oh, yeah. I know Youngstown well.
Yeah, Youngstown.
Yes.
It's
There's a lot of
place.
old people there.
Oh. yeah, my dad.
Did you go to high school there?
What's that?
Did you go to high school there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, my dad worked at General Fireproofing, the steel mills, and that whole thing. So I'm, born and bred in that area. Hey, one thing you had mentioned last week on one of the songs, you all played a Zap song, and
Roger Troutman, date.
Roger Troutman. I would say you guys didn't mention his name. I think he was the one that created that tube and the water music sound.
The auto tune, yes, They certainly. Most of their hits they had that.
Juwan, where we going? Are we done with Big Ben or what?
Well, are you a Steelers fan or a Browns? Because Youngstown's right in the middle.
Actually, I was neither growing up, but still was, went to many Cleveland games with my dad. So, I was a prior fan, like back in the Jim Brown time, even though, I'm like 55, but I was fond of that era. But guys, the question, it's either going to be Mike Tomlin or Ben Roethlisberger, guys.
God.
I don't think Mike Tomlin's on the table.
Yes.
I don't believe that.
Well, look, I don't want it. Look,
nah.
Mike Tomlin is my favorite. He's my favorite coach and always been. But I kind of fear that with Juju Schuster doing the same thing that Antonio Brown did, and this performance, guys, it's far below what Mike Tomlin is capable of. I hope he fixes it.
I agree, but Ben, you save money on the cap, Chris. He's a broken down 38. There's no way.
You save so much money.
Right.
And remember, the Steelers don't get rid of coaches.
They've only had 3 coaches in the last 60 years.
Right.
Chris.
Chuck Noll, Cowher, and Mike Tomlin.
Right? I mean, it's like at least 50 years or something or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
they're not moving. Well, Noel took over in 1969. So since then, there have been
From
3
69
coaches.
to 2021.
That's 51 years.
That's what I'm saying.
Years.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to Marty in Kentucky. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Marty?
What's up, fellas? I think Rob has revisionist history because he called that they were overrated, which they were, but he also had them number one in his power rankings for several weeks. So,
No, I didn't. No, I did not. No, I did not.
I like it.
No, I did
calling
not.
him out.
I did not. I had him one time, and I know because I remember I did it, and I only had him one time,
even
Marty.
that is
the
damning.
bottom line is,
Even
Marty,
that is
which
damning,
which
Rob
way
Parker.
are you going, Marty? Which way are you
Don't
going
change
here?
the subject, Rob.
We're running out of time, and we need to get to what we're talking about.
Okay.
Marty, great call.
We're running out of time, so I'll get to 2 points. One will be Roethlisberger. If a guy's got you to 3 Super Bowls and he won 2 of them and he just won you a division championship, I think you owe it to him to
You
come
don't
out
owe him
and see
jack.
what he
Stop
can do the
it.
next year.
You don't
And
owe him
I'll-
anything.
And now on the Steelers, the way they played this year, I'm going to be honest. Rob was right about a lot what he said. They were a little overrated. They were playing above their head. They need to learn how to play with expectations. I will say losing Bud Dupree, that hurt him. That hurt the Steelers. That having 2 edge rushers can take you a long way. It covers up a lot of deficiencies in your secondary. And the Steelers have a good safety, but they don't have good DBs. And that covers up a lot. We've seen Denver with an old Peyton Manning go all the way because they had 2 great edge rushers. And that
Marty,
hurt the Steelers.
I would say this to you, because I hear you on Big Ben. If they weren't going to get such a benefit financially, then I would run it back one more year. But they're getting such a benefit, and they don't know who the quarterback's going to be, but you can just start over and kind of get yourself in better position because you're taking that $19 million off the cap. So I just think the financial benefits are too good to keep Ben around. But we'll see.